Hello and hi, welcome to the Fortinus Events Global Podcast series, where we explore the evolving realities of HR, leadership, and workforce transformation across industries. I'm your host, Rashika, and today we are joined by someone with extensive experience leading HR in highly operational and complex environments. Today we are joined by Charlene Tan, the Human Resources Director, Southeast Asia of Suez, an experienced HR leader with a strong track record in transforming people practices, leveraging data-driven insights, and building future-ready organizations. So, Charlie, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we begin, could you please briefly introduce yourself and share a little bit about your journey and your current role?
Okay, thank you, Shika. So it's nice to be here to meet all of you virtually. Yeah, so I'm Charlene. I'm the HR Director of Suez for Southeast Asia region. So I have been with Suez for about 7.5 years. And during my journey here, it's really, I have been through sort of a transformation journey here, not only with the company, but also my own career. I think it's really a good career progression for me in this company. My own development is also massive, I would say, and yeah, I think doing HR for Southeast Asia, it's not easy because, as you know, it's a region with different culture, different kinds of problems with all different kind of countries. So it's life changing for anyone who wants to join HR in this region. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Shirley, for sharing your experience with us. So now let's jump into our discussion. So first thing first, Shirley, you joined Swiss at a time when there was an opportunity to revitalize and modernize practices that had become outdated. What does that transformation process look like from the inside, and what is the biggest challenge organizations face when moving away from the way things have been always been done?
Okay, so for this question, I really would think that the biggest risk that all organization have is really the mindset, because and the sort of the courage to really try things. So it's like the traditional method, it's working well. So why change? Usually leaders had this question in mind. So why should I change? So you have to really spend time to convince them, to influence them that uh, we have to adapt ourselves to change so that we use the most efficient method or the most efficient way of doing things. The old things that could work in the past may not work in the future anymore, especially when everything is now moving on to digitalization and different systems and all this. So the old way of working is not the most effective anymore. So how do you really use it to convince and influence your stakeholders? I think it's really the hardest part, that to convince leaders that, okay, it's really time to change. You have to let go of this traditional method of doing things and try out. Who knows? There could be a better outcome.
Okay, understand. So when driving change, how do HR leaders balance the need to move quickly while they still need to ensure employees feel supported throughout the transformation journey?
Mm. I would think that usually communication is really the key, especially if the change is relating to employees. Company needs to be very transparent, needs to have open communication with the employees so that they know what is going on in the company, what kind of difficulties, what kind of challenges, or really what kind of really a difficult situation that the company is facing at the moment. And that's why the company is doing this. That's why the company is going to do that. So please bear with us so that they are aware. If not, it's creating a lot of anxiety in them. And then that's not good. That's not what we want. Because anxiety would create you know, fear in them, and they may start to look for other jobs and all this. And that's not what we want to. We want to really keep the key talents and retain them.
Understand. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Shirley, for the responses. Okay, now moving on to the next one. You have highlighted the importance of using data analytics to shape talent strategy. But HR is also fundamentally about people, relationships, data understanding, human behavior. So now how do you balance data-driven decision making with human judgment? And where do you believe data should end and leadership intuition should begin?
Okay, so for this, really, I think data is important because, in a way, it allows us to see some trends. And also, based on the past data, we can really see the results of our probably HR initiatives that we have launched. What's the results? Or any probably the related to the first question, any new system or any new way of working that we have launched, we are able to see the results. With all these results, we can sort of do an analysis. Okay, whether is it effective, whether is it not effective, how much time we have saved in using this new system to situate something, or really how much in terms of costs, how much we have saved, for example, in terms of recruitment with this new system and so forth. So I think data is important because it really gives us a sort of view and gives us an indication of how we have done. But with this data, of course, it's not everything, because as what your question is, how do we manage then the people and the relationship? So it's with this data, you can use this data to decide, or probably to have a sense of your future possibility, to help you to make decision. How do you want to go forward, moving on? Whether this new way of working, is it still working, or whether the traditional way is good, or so you analyze and then you decide your future path. How is it going to move forward? But during this time, it's then you will need the convincing and the influencing to your stakeholders, which is then the relationship and the people will come into play, because then you will need to convince your stakeholders that, okay, based on the data, it shows that this is not working. So we need to try out this new way of working so that it helps the organization to move forward. It's more effective, it's more efficient. So this is the way, this is the place that relationship will play a very important part, because in order to move things forward, really we need to influence the stakeholders. We need to get their buy-in, and it's a collaborative effort. It's not just a HR effort moving solely alone, but it's one organization moving together.
Understand? So when you guys move together, it all makes sense and it all just getting stronger together.
Yes, yes, what I think. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Elaine. So now, third question for you. Future ready is a phrase that we often hear, but organizations interpret it differently. From your perspective, Charlene, what does a truly future ready workforce look like? And how can HR leaders build capabilities for a future that continues to evolve?
So regarding this point, it is very true that we, I think, can never be 100% future ready, because like what you mentioned in your question, the situation is constantly changing. So yeah, so you can never be really 100% ready for something that is unknown. right? So what we can do is really to prepare ourselves based on, of course, the company strategy, what the company really want to do. So and aligning ourselves with the situation. What is the best that we can do that is aligned with the company strategy in this future situation? But of course, I think the key to this question is really the mindset. You have to be very adaptable.
Mm.
You even if there is already a plan, let's say, okay, 1 year later I want to do this, 2 years later the plan is to do this, but you have to be very adaptable, very flexible. You don't, although there's a plan, but it's not fixed. You cannot fix yourself to this plan. If the situation change, you have to adapt quickly to change your plan to the situation. Then I think it will work.
Yeah, I think we have that one thing that's called uncertainty. So
Yeah.
whatever we do, uncertainty is always there.
Yes.
So we just need to make sure we are there to adapt.
Yeah.
To highest chance.
So adaptability is really important, I think.
Okay, great. I agree. Okay, thank you so much, Really. So now the fourth question. You are one of the registered corporate coaches, and coaching is an important part of how you engage and influence stakeholders. How has coaching shaped your approach to HR leadership, and what do you think many HR professionals still misunderstand about influencing senior leaders?
Okay. Actually, I mean, of course, I don't want to comment about the other job professionals. So I cannot say that one method is right or the other method is wrong or my method is right. So, okay, but I can share that I usually coaching, we use the philosophy that everyone is creative. Everyone knows what is the best solution for themselves, so they can decide, they can do their own things and all this. So we don't offer advice. I mean, in the coaching philosophy, we don't offer advice, but instead we ask questions. We keep asking questions and we probe deeper and deeper to make them sort of discover the solution themselves. This is the coaching philosophy. So although we may have already formed our own advice, but we don't say, we have to lead them to this conclusion. So this coaching mentality, I think, is kind of useful because usually if the solution is developed by themselves, they are more prone to follow because it's their own idea. It's not what somebody tell them, and so in a way that when you do this kind of exchanging with senior leaders, especially when they are senior, they already have their own perception. They already have their own assumptions. So I would think that senior leaders, they don't really like people to tell them what to do because they are already senior. They will feel probably offended if you are coming with instructions or what you have to do this, you have to do this. So they may not take it so well. But if you exchange with them, okay, see it from their point of view and sort of through questionings, try to make it see the question, see the challenge from your point of view, I think it could lead to a more collaborative outcome, and it could open their mind further so that they are more open to other kinds of possibilities rather than their own fixed solution. Then I think it will lead to a better outcome, a more collaborative outcome together with them.
Understand? Okay. Thank you so much, Charlene. I think that's a great skill to have, to just coaching people, and you would know what are the current trends and what are the current, changes, or what are the things that needed in someone to be a better HR leader themselves. So yeah, that's a great skill that you have, Charlene. Thank you very much. No worries. Okay, so Charlene, last but not least, Southeast Asia is a diverse and fast-moving region, like you mentioned. So, with different markets, workforce expectations, and business challenges. From your perspective, what does it take to build and execute effective HR strategies in C, and how does this differ from approaches in the other regions?
I would say that, like what I mentioned earlier in my introduction, it's really different countries in Southeast Asia, and every country has its own complexity. Even the language is different, the culture and everything is different. So it's really hard to find a one size fits all kind of strategy. So I would say that uh, we still have to be flexible and adaptable. Of course, the main guideline could still be formed, could still be developed. Okay, it's a main guideline, but these guidelines should be flexible in itself to adapt to different local contexts. I think it will resonate better with employees. Like for example, I give an example like people in the Philippines, they really like team building. They are always they like they think that okay, having team building every quarter, it's not too much. It's really the norm, and they need engaging. They need bonding to continue their work effectively. But of course, if you ask people in Indonesia or people in Singapore, once a quarter, it's nobody will attend. I mean, they think it's too much. So then how do we really strike a balance? So I think still team bonding is team building events is probably good to have. Maybe so we strike a balance maybe once a year for everybody in Southeast Asia. So it's something like this. We still can have some guidelines, but we try to adapt to different countries and different culture to see how we can make employees, more engaged with the organization.
Understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I do agree that one size doesn't fit all. And I think you are more, you know better whatever whatever the culture that one region have. And so that's why you take it, and then you just make all the necessary so that everyone is happy and everyone is um ready, future ready in the organization as well. So, okay. Thank you so much, Charlene, for your time today and for sharing your valuable insights on building adaptable organizations, transforming HR practices, and preparing the workforce for the future. Yeah, the Charlene from Done. Yes. No worries. Thank you so much as well, Charlene. So, to everyone, Charlene will also be joining us as one of the panelists at the CHRO and HR Leaders Summit Singapore 2026, where she will be part of the panel discussion entitled The Augmented Workforce: How Far Should AI Go in People Decisions? So join Charlene and fellow HR leaders on the 18th of August for meaningful conversations on the future of work, talent, and organizational conversation. So thank you so much, Charlene. Do you have anything else to add?
So thanks for inviting me for this podcast. So I had a good time to exchange on these few questions with you. So next, of course, I would love to exchange with all of you in August on the topic of AI. So of course, I'm not right. It's just my opinion. So join me and join us on this event for exchange. Thank you so much.
Understand. Likewise, Charlene. Thank you so much. And thank you so much again. And to everyone tuning in, thank you for joining us. We'll see you at the summit and see you later. Bye, everyone. Bye, Charlene.
Bye. Thank you.